My name is Martin, and I represent GS1 South Africa. And we're here to share about GS1 barcodes and product identification and what every Amazon seller needs to know. I would like to thank Emily and the Amazon South Africa team for this invitation for us to share about standards and what benefits they bring to the value and supply chain. We'll go through the agenda for today. So please, next slide. For today, it will be a welcome and introduction of myself and my colleague Taryn, who is also on the call for support. We'll answer the question, why is product identification important on marketplaces as well as in the traditional retail environment. We'll also explore product identification, why we are adamant that it has to be a GS1 G10. What is the process of applying for a GS1 G10? We're going to touch on some Amazon G10 listing issues that we've encountered in the country. And if we have time, towards the end, we'll have a question and answer session. So my name is Martin Cairo, and I am the Automatic Identification and Data Capture Program Manager at GS1 South Africa. I have over 10 years of experience, and my role, I assist companies to help them manage and improve how their products that they make from multiple industries are tracked, uniquely identified, using barcodes, scanned, and they go beep by scanners, and how these standards make sure that your inventory and shipping is more accurate and efficient. How do these standards protect the supply chain from illicit and counterfeit and substandard goods? We also assist in member training for end users or for our members who have applied or subscribed to these standards. We're hoping with the team that this webinar will equip each and every one of you on this call with the tips to get ahead with unique product identification with GS1. As I had mentioned, I have Taryn, who's my colleague, on the call, and she will be supporting me. Due to our neutrality as GS1 South Africa, we are guided by the GS1 competition law caution. And the reason for that is we're a not-for-profit organization that plays in multiple industries. And by so doing, we have discussions such as these where we'll have competitors in the room. So in order not to create confusions, I will not read the full competition law caution. What I will sensitize is what has been highlighted, and that is there shall be no discussion of prices, allocation of customers or products, boycotts, refusals to deal, or market share. If you want to read the full competition law caution, you can scan the QR code on the slide, or you can access it on the full link, and we will share these slides with you after. So now you have made time, and thank you for availing yourself. And you have joined this session for a reason, or this webinar for a reason. Was it because your manager asked you to join because you're managing Amazon? Were you just curious to find out more about the subject of GS1 standards and barcoding? Do you own an existing brand that you've been selling over the years and you're just diversifying and now starting to try out the online marketplace? Or are you a startup that is selling exclusively online? Are you a GS1 member who just wants to know what are the membership details or membership benefits when it comes to selling online? For us and the Amazon team, we believe there are three great reasons for you to be here. Number one is you're here to understand the importance of product identification. And in that unique product identification. The second reason is that you're here to learn how to get product identification right. And this is from your base product, or what we call point of sale, as well as your higher level configuration, which we call outer cases. which are for logistics. The third reason is how, through this membership with GS1 South Africa, you can leverage that G10 or barcode for success on marketplaces as well as traditional shops. With that in mind, I would like just to introduce who is GS1, because that is a question that we normally hear from our members or non-members, and they say, GS1 who? So GS1 is a leader in product identification in the physical and digital worlds. Right now, the webinar is focused on the digital world. It is the official provider of the global trade item number, otherwise known by everyone as the barcode. In other terms, it's referred to as the G10, and some historic references were the UPC, or the Universal Product Code, EAN, which is the European Article Number, or simply barcodes. We support over 20 industry sectors globally. There's over 2 million businesses that are using our GS1 standards, and these are from multinationals to local companies to startups and entrepreneurs. We have a presence in 118 countries, or what we call member organization, with our head office sitting in Brussels, Belgium. And there's more than 10 billion barcodes or 10 billion bips that happen each and every day. We are neutral and not for profit. Therefore, you don't buy barcodes or you don't buy G10s. You simply lease them. And every year, annually, there is a license fee except for the single G10 license. We're user-driven and governed, meaning the standards that we create are for industry by industry. Globally, we're governed by our head office, which sits in Belgium, and locally, we are governed by what we call the GS1 South Africa Council. It consists of marketplaces, traditional retailers, as well as brand owners. We're global and local, and we are inclusive and collaborative. The barcode was initially created or designed to support the retail industry sector. But over the years, we have diversified and seen our standards being implemented in other industry verticals. So retail, being the largest adopters of the standards, include your consumer packaged goods or grocery, apparel, fresh food, general merchandise. We also have healthcare, which is celebrating 20 years of GS1 standards. We also support the transport and logistics, food services, technical industries, and moving to agriculture. As we look across these industries that we serve globally, there's one common need, and that's the integrity and the usability of the data. And it's not just about having big data, it's about having good, complete, accurate, relevant data for us as consumers, your trading partners, as well as your regulators. Good data is shareable and linkable, so that all the relevant and related information, such as images, reviews, allergen information, ingredient, can be aggregated for us as consumers, and as well as your trading partners, in this case, Amazon. When we talk about the GS1 system of standards, we speak about 3 pillars. And these pillars is what guides or creates a foundation for traceability. We uniquely identify the manufacturer who's making this product. We also identify the products themselves that they make. And I had mentioned your point of sale as well as your higher levels, all the way to the pallet. We identify assets within the supply chain that transport these goods from one company to the other. And also we identify the location, so where these goods have been stored, where these goods were distributed to, ideally all the way to the consumer, the patient, as well as your trading partners. So at the top, it's all about identification, ID keys, similar to The same way you have an ID number that represents you, the products that you sell on Amazon or anywhere else also have a product ID number. Once we identify who you are and what you make, we now need to capture this information in machine-readable data carriers. And this is what people call the barcodes. So you can see the section over there consists of the technology itself. And on the extreme left, you can see the ENUPC barcode. This has been used for the last 50 years. It has served us well, but because of the need of having more information on a barcode, such as dynamic production information, batch number, expiry date, lot numbers, serial numbers, we as an industry have to adopt and transition to what we call two-dimensional barcodes. And one example is a GS1 data matrix that you see. That is already being used in healthcare. We also have other two-dimensional barcodes, such as this GS1 QR code, which connects to a digital link. So if you look at the data carrier section, there are instances where you'll find products with both the one-dimensional linear barcode and the two-dimensional barcode. The reason for that is this project is dubbed Ambition 2027, meaning that by 2027, retailers or trading partners should be in a position to scan 2D barcode and encode that information. Then we have what we call the ITF-40, which is mostly used for your outer cases or logistical units, so your corrugated boxes. So now we've identified who you are, encoded that information in a data carrier, which allows so that once it goes beep, it identifies who you are, what the product is, and information related to that product, including price. The last pillar, which is the most important pillar, is the share pillar. You have all this rich data about your product. You're telling us a story about your product. So you need to share this information or share this story with us, with your trading partners, as well as regulators. So on the share pillar, we use what we call the Global Data Synchronization Network, which allows you to share master data, so location data, as well as the product data itself, transactional data, as well as event data, which supports traceability. So in a nutshell, this is who GS1 is. If I touch on GS1 South Africa as a member organization, being one of 118 federations, we were the first member organization in Africa. We opened in 1982, meaning we're celebrating, I think, 44, not 43 years this year. And we have assisted a lot of the African member organization to get going into the continent. So we mentored countries such as Kenya, Namibia, Mauritius, and recently we're working with GS1, with Congo, to try and get them up with the GS1 in the country. So if you look at products within the African continent, they will mostly likely carry our South African country prefix, which is what I'll explain in the next slides coming up. So with membership from GS1 South Africa, we will provide customer service support and training on many topics, including how to trade on marketplaces, like this webinar. We'll teach you about barcode quality and placement issues. We'll talk about package measurement rules. So how do you measure your dimensional data of your product? What's the height, width, and the depth, depending on the default font? We also you get support from local marketplace experts, so leaders in your field, and we have relationship with international global marketplaces, as well as other online ecosystems. We also provide online tools to help you manage those GTINs that you've registered with us. Sorry, Emily, next slide, please. Thank you. So we've set up online tools to help you get started with your membership. And this online tools helps you manage and assign those numbers or those GTINs to the products that you're making and create the actual barcode symbol, right? And this is what we call activate. So activate is your internal listing assignment or management. And what it does is those 8 attributes which were agreed by the Consumer Goods Forum make up the product ID. This information is then shared with the verified by GS1 registry, which is being used for product verification and authentication. We also support the listing processes with the Global Data Synchronization Network. This is a much larger registry, and it caters for more than 8 attributes. On this registry, it caters for weight information, dimensional information, enriched information, depending on the industry vertical that you are. So if you are looking to list with the mainstream traditional retailers, please reach out to us and we will get you on board on this application. We also do provide barcode verification and item measurement services. So this is to make sure that the quality of the barcode that you have printed is scanned and it fits the technical specification of a good quality barcode. When we look at GS1 membership globally, because we are a global company, we have customer service support, not only from South Africa, but also from the other MOs. We will get support from local marketplace experts, easy management of your numbers and product data through Activate, access to our global partner network, including working groups, and you get to know key industry trends and legislation that would affect your industry, as well as access to the GS1 data services. While I'm on this slide, I would urge you to open your browsers and type in verified by GS1. So verified by GS1 is the registry of all product identification and authentication. And if you have a product with us that starts with the 600 or any international barcode, you can type in the barcode in there and verify who's the owner of that number. So we've spoken about who GS1 is. So now we're going to ask, why is product identification important, especially on the digital space? So and during COVID, most of us transitioned to online buying. And have you ever ordered a product online and then you received something different to what you expected or what you ordered? I have, right? And in the digital world, unique product identification and the data associated with that product has become a priority. It is the key for building consumer confidence and trust, because us as consumers, we rely on the information that you provided us, and we hope that it is accurate information, because we can't physically touch your product, we can't feel your product or even try on any of your products that we have viewed on the digital shelf. This makes the GTIN very important in identifying or uniquely identifying products that are being sold in the digital world. And let's find out more about how this GTIN helps online marketplaces. So we have a customer, we'll call them Natasha. Natasha wants to surprise her daughter with a special present for her birthday. She goes online to visit her favorite marketplace and searches for toy store digital camera. Accurate product information that has been shared by the seller leads Natasha to the marketplace to display the correct product. And it shows you a green camera with multiple sellers offering the same products. Sellers like yourselves who have identified the camera that they are listing have used a GTIN, which is unique to that product. And that GTIN enables the marketplace or marketplaces to group all the sellers on one product or all the sellers on one product listing page in their catalog, because it is a category. This improves our buyer experience or the buyer experience and makes a purchase much easier and quicker. Inaccurate product identification results in the wrong product and incomplete information being displayed, confusing Natasha. And that happens to us on a daily basis. So why should you, as an Amazon seller, uniquely identify your product? We'll look at some of the benefits of uniquely identifying your products, and it's faster product listings, it's increased product discoverability, enriched customer experience, high conversion rates, as well as accurate product fulfillment. Now let's explore product identification. You've heard a lot of acronyms, and you will hear a lot of acronyms from GS1, and we have confirmed that the barcode is also termed as the GTIN, which is Global Trade Item Number. Right? What is actually behind that number that you see under a barcode? All barcodes that you see have a sequence, right? And there's 4 parts to a barcode. The first 3 numbers of any GTIN or any barcode that you come across will represent the country where it was issued from, right? And just to be clear, it represents the country where it was issued from. It does not represent country of origin, because you could have suppliers or sellers that create bundles or create kits of different products and sell that as a finished product. It just means that if it starts with a 600, it was issued by GS1 South Africa, and in most cases, it would be a South African company. The 3 digits are managed by our global office. They're the ones responsible for issuing these country codes. The next sequence, depending on the number range that you have, represents you as the company. This is your company prefix, and this is what we ask for, or this is what we search for, just to get your membership details. Company prefix is static, and it's unique to your company. The next sequence in blue is an item number. The item number is the actual SKU or the actual GTIN for that product within your catalog. In this case, this product was assigned barcode number 678. Then the last digit is called a check digit. It's a formula generated digit, and it allows the scanner to go beep and read the full GTIN in the sequence. If the check digit is incorrect, the barcode will not decode or not work. So that is the representation of GS1 GTIN. Then if you apply for a single GTIN, and those are single licenses, meaning that it does not come from a port or a range, it will still follow the same sequence. The first 3 digits is a country code. The next digit in sequence would be your company prefix. Then because it is a single GTIN in this case, if you look at the code on the right, it's barcode number 2, and then the check digit is 2. So that is the structure of a GS1 company prefix. Now, when we come to us as GS1 South Africa, we provide GTINs in blocks or ranges, right? So we have the single number. So this is if you have one product with one variant, one packaging measure of unit, it's one barcode. Then we move from 1 number to 10 numbers. So a 10 number will be a 10-digit prefix. Then we move to 100, 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000. Okay. Just to break it down, if you look at, for example, the 10-digit prefix, what that means is the first 10 digits of your GTIN will be static, because it will comprise of the country code, the company code only. Then the check digit will be, not the check digit, the item reference will be the item itself, meaning that if you have 10 numbers, your item reference number will only be 1 digit, because you can only barcode from 0 to 9. If you move to 100 GTINs, the first 10 digits of your barcode become your company prefix. Then your item reference now is assigned 2 digits, meaning you can barcode from 9 to 99. and it follows the same sequence as you move up on the ladder range. And basically, that is our barcode range offering. Then we will look at the terminology that has been used by Amazon, and also what terminology is used in the GS1 world when we look at the identification terminology. So if we go to the next slide, we have 8 types of G10s. G10 12 or UPC, which is mostly used in North America. Then we have the G10 13, or formerly known as EAN, JAN, EAN 13. And then we have the G10 14 for outer cases. And then we also have the G10 8. So these are 8-digit codes for products that are hard to mark, meaning that they don't have a big enough space to assign a 12-digit number or a 13-digit number. So we have provided an 8-digit code for those type of products. We also have the GS1 data matrix as a data carrier, and the GS1 data QR code. And these are the two-dimensional codes that are being piloted. GS1 data matrix is already being used in the healthcare space. When we look now at what attributes create or make up a product, remember we mentioned the 8 attributes. So the Consumer Goods Forum, which is an association, came up with a product data coalition project where they say we need to standardize unique product identification globally. So they came up with these 8 attributes, which can be picked up from any product. And these 8 attributes make up the product identity in the digital space. This is the G10, or the barcode. If you are a member of GS1 South Africa, it would be a 13-digit code, which is a unique global identifier license from GS1 to you as a company. Then we would have the brand name, and the brand name it's what we as consumer recognize your brand. In some cases, sellers get it confused where they have the company name as a brand name. In some cases it works, but ideally a brand name is a name that you provide to your product that helps us recognize it and also differentiate it from the other competing products within that category. Then the product description is a combination of additional attributes, right? And it should be an understandable, unique, and usable description of a product. And it's used by combining key elements such as the brand name, the sub-brand, if it is applicable. And sub-brand is if you are a company that is making multiple products in multiple categories. So let's say you have water, you have milk, you have yogurt, for example. You have the brand name, but within your company, you have 3 kind of subcategories. So you need to provide sub-brands for those subcategories. So not all brands have brand names, that have sub-brand names. So those are it's only relevant if it's applicable for your product. Then you'll have the functional name. So the function is what need does your product satisfy for me? Then it would be the variant, whether it's small, medium, large, strawberry, lavender, etc. And then we would have the net content. So what's the quantity that I'm buying as a consumer? It could be I'm buying 1 piece, I'm buying 300 grams, I'm buying 2 liters, for example. Then it would consist of the units of measure, and that would be liters, pieces, grams, etc. Then you would have the product image URL, and this is very important when it comes to the digital space because we have to see your picture. Then you have the global product category code. So this is a code that GS1 creates through working groups, through the collaboration with the industry to classify products that have similar characteristics. Then we've mentioned net content, unit of measure, and then countries of sale. With those 8 attributes, and we'll see with Natasha's example, you can pick up the product ID. We have the G10, the brand name it's Toy Store. The full description, it's an instant print camera with 0 ink, 1080p video, and 12MP selfie. So in this case, the 1080p video and 12MP selfie is a variant for that product. Then you have the image URL, the classification, it's digital cameras. I'm buying one piece of it, and it's being sold in Ireland. This information is populated by you as a seller on the Activate platform, which is a service that we provided you as a GS1 member, a value-added service to help you manage your barcodes as well as share the 8 attributes with your trading partners, in this case, Amazon. We are present, as I mentioned, in 118 countries. So it's entirely up to you as a seller to subscribe to the GS1 of your choice. But it makes sense to apply for a GS1 that is in country for the support. But we do have 118 other MOs, and if you want to see who they are and where they are based, you can click on that link. What I want to touch on here is when you go online, there are companies that are selling barcodes online, and those companies claim that they're selling unique GS1 G10s. But I do hope that you do not go for those barcodes, because those are unauthorized GS1 G10s and they don't link back to your company or brand. If you have been searching and verified by GS1, if you have a barcode that you've licensed in South Africa and doesn't start with the 600, I urge you to verify it, and it will tell you who is the original licensee company for it. What we have done as GS1 is, and this is through feedback from startups, is our cost model, or the costing, was too expensive for the G10. So what we've done is we've reduced our pricing for the single G10s and the 10-number bank, right? We have actually scrapped off the annual license fee for single G10s. What we've also done is launched an online barcode application process, which makes it easier for you to apply and get your barcodes through us, which directly links you to Activate. And we've also increased our Google ad spend, whereby now, if you go online and say barcode in South Africa, or South African barcodes, GS1 South Africa is ranking at least top 2 or top 3. So we've also done a little bit of work on our side to try and mitigate that. So verified by GS1, as I had mentioned, it's a registry where all GS1 populate information about the licenses, and you as sellers populate attributes about those products that you're selling. It's open, it's an open registry, and retailers, marketplaces, and regulators are querying product identification from it. So the information that you load on Activate has to be understandable, if you go back to that product description, for us as consumers to try and verify what you're selling. So if we have time, with the next slide, we're just going to do a very quick activity or fun activity. Okay, let's skip that slide, please. All right. So we've mentioned that there are 4 different G10 identification. You've got the 12 digits, product identifier length, 13 digits, and 14 digits. Can anyone tell me what these terms are, or what were they? What is the legacy terminology of these terms in marketplaces? For all 3, so 12, 13, and 14. You can put it in the chat. But if you go on, Emily, to the next slide, you will see that the legacy terminology is UPC. So if you see a UPC listing, just know it's a 12-digit barcode, and it's called a G1012. If you see EAN, it's a G1013. So legacy terminology was EAN, and it's a G1013. And whatever barcodes you or G10s that you've subscribed to, GS1 South Africa, they are all G1013s. Legacy for 14 digits was EAN 14, but we now call it the G10 14. It's a 14-digit barcode number, and it's used for logistics configuration. So anything that is ordered or dispatched, normally in bulk. So if it's a case, it would be assigned a 14-digit code ordered by your trading partner. Once they receive it, they break that case, and then they would sell individual units which have the G1030. So just to recap, what we've learned is, as an Amazon seller, get GS1 G10s from a GS1 because these G10s are globally unique and internationally recognized product identifiers, which means that if you're selling and you want to sell or export to other countries, you don't need to change that number. It's globally accepted, and that's why you see our tagline says it's a global language of business. It makes it easier and it makes it cheaper for you to do business globally. GS1 is the official provider of these G10s, which are obtained by contacting your local GS1 office, in this case, South Africa. Activate, which is an online platform, allows you to manage those G10s and capture core product attributes, as well as being able to download the actual symbol, which is those black and white lines. Product identification ensures consumers can accurately find, compare, and buy your products. Please be aware of terminology. G10s is the new terminology as opposed to the legacy terminology that we saw on the previous slide. So now let's touch on why GS1 G10s. On the next slide, we'll see an example of when a single G10 pulls up completely different products on several marketplaces. So we have the G10 number, which is the human readable number underneath the barcode itself, which are those in black and white lines. You can see that with the search of that G10, you get the electric toothbrush sold on Marketplace A, which is a correct identification for that product. You also have the electric toothbrush sold on Marketplace B, which is okay because it's the same product. But you can also see that it picked up a beard trimmer, which is sold on another marketplace platform. So it's the responsibility of you as a brand owner or the manufacturer of this product to assign a G10 to your product. If you're a product reseller or distributor, we urge you not to assign your own G10 to that product, right? It's advisable to get the official brand owner to either assign their own G10 for it. Because once you do that, it's relabeling and introducing additional G10s or unique identifiers to the supply and value chain. And this will cause multiple issues, which lead to mostly listing issues, either on the digital space or the physical space. Every product should have a distinct barcode. So in this case, this is a tea bag, and the fruit berries is the sub brand for this company, but they're also selling two variances. There's the green apples and the sweet pear. So because of those variances, there has to be two barcode or two G10s assigned to those products. Okay. The next slide, we'll see the value of getting the right G10. Next slide, please. So they enable catalog quality and reduce duplication, because one number, one product. G10s improve relevance in search and enrich customer experience. Verifiable G10s reduce the risk of counterfeits for brands and manufacturers, as Marketplace can verify the licensee through Verified by GS1. G10s help ensure accurate product fulfillment. And the next slide just adds more weight to it, because Google, based on what the previous slide says, that it improves your relevance in the search. Yeah? Google identified that products with G10s, whether it's on Facebook or Google, significantly get more appearances or clicks. They're likely to appear in shopping experiences and drive more traffic to your website. And we've seen a 40% better ad performance on online marketplaces for products that are listed with unique GS1 GTINs. When you're thinking about applying for a GS1 GTIN, you need to bear in mind a few things, and that is for every size, for every color, for every style, for every packaging measure, it's a unique number. So let's take an example. Let's say we're selling t-shirts. We have 3 sizes, small, medium, and large. And we have 3 colors, blue, pink, and gray. So those are already 6 barcodes. Then they come in 3 different styles, maybe a v-neck, the other styles. And then you're packing them in 3 different packaging. So you can see each size, each color, each style, each packaging requires its own GTIN. So all in all, as a seller, you would need 81 GTINs to assign to your products. We do have an online generator on our website if you are unsure of how you calculate how many GTINs you need. Then once you have assigned a GTIN and the product is in trade, we have what we call the GTIN management standard. And the GTIN management standard's main objective is to make sure that everyone within the value and supply chain are interacting with the same product, right? We have a decision support tool which helps brand owners of products that are already in trade, right? That are either going through some innovation change and they need to know whether to keep that GTIN on that product or whether they need to assign a new GTIN, right? Following these rules saves companies time and money when it comes to launching new products or listing. When you are making changes to an already existing product in trade, the GTIN management rules looks at 3 guiding principles of whether you need to apply a new GTIN or whether you need to keep the same GTIN. So we look at, is there a consumer impact, right? So I, Martin, as a consumer, do I need to know about the change that you're making to the product? Is this a regulatory change? Is it a regulatory driven change to the product? Let's say there's a sugar tax and now you have removed the sugar from your product because of that, right? Is there a significant supply chain impact with the change that you're making? So for example, you've changed the size of the product and therefore the amount of the products that go into your case or pallet have significantly reduced. So this will impact how that shipment is stored, transported, and distributed. So we look at those 3 guiding principles, and one has to be there in order for you to consider a change. Once we look at those 3 guiding principles, we look at 10 rules. There's 10 rules that you as a seller need to check with your products and confirm if you're making any of those changes. And those rules are new product introduction. So if you're introducing a new product, it's a new GTIN. There's declared formulation of functionality. So this goes hand in hand. If you change the formulation of your product, in some instances, it changes the functionality, whether it's through the taste, the smell, the texture. In some cases, it's a completely new functionality where, let's say you had an insect repellent and initially you launched this product as an all insect killer, but you have made changes to your formulation where now it's only flying insect killer. Right? Then we have declared net content. If you increase or decrease your net content, it's a new GTIN. So if you're selling one piece of the camera, but now you're selling 2 cameras, then it's a new GTIN. Dimensional or gross weight change. This we look at a 20% rule. So our dimensional data is the height, width, and depth of the product. If there are changes to those dimensions by more than 20%, including the gross weight, then that is considered a new product, and therefore you need to assign a new G10. If you're adding or removing certification marks, then that's a new G10. Primary brand, if you change the brand name completely, then it's a new G10. If there's a promotional product within a specified period, then you would change your ordering unit, which is your case, but the individual product still maintains its G10. If you change your pack or case quantity, so this will impact the supply chain in terms of transportation and logistics, then you need to assign a new G10 for that. Predefined assortment, so if you have an assortment of 3 products and it's lavender, strawberry, and rosemary, and you, let's say you take out the rosemary and add, let's say, amarula, then that would be a different assortment and hence a new G10. Price on pack, it's also considered, but we've never seen it in South Africa. If you get the G10 management wrong, G10 management process wrong, it will lead to time loss because people are ordering the wrong product using the wrong G10. It's extra cost on your end, where you might need to reprint your packagings, and in some instances retailers might actually fine you based on the fulfillment to the warehouses. It impacts your delivery, your trade requirements, and ultimately it loses you businesses. We'll now get to the last section of the webinar, and it's marketplace G10 listing issues that we faced. I'd like just to let you know that this listing issues are global, right? So it's not a South African or a SADC region issue, but these are global issues. So as GS1 and collaboration working with Amazon globally, we've identified 8 common errors that sellers experience on the platform. And this will on the next slide. So out of these 8, in our target market, we have experienced number 2 and number 3. Those are the most common errors of Amazon sellers coming through, or GS1 South Africa members, right? So if we look at the G10 hijacking issue, so this issue occurs when you, as an Amazon seller, is trying to list a product, but the G10 is already in use on another product, right? So if the product doesn't match the one that is already on Amazon, Amazon most probably might have associated the G10 with the wrong product. And it's normally an 8541 error code. So the escalation process is solely done on the Amazon seller portal with the way you log the ticket. We as GS1 provide you with the confirmation that indeed this is your license by providing the GS1 certificate, which has information about your company, address, where you're situated, website, including the product information loaded on Activate. Okay. The second one is the EAN UPC does not match. And this normally occurs when Amazon believes that the G10 that is associated with the brand, no, the G10 is not associated with the brand of the product listed, right? And what they want is proof that the G10 is linked to the brand and owned by the company, right? So some of the evidence that they would want would be copyright certificate, trademarks, letter of authorization, or even invoices to show that you purchased the stock. So approval needs to be provided before you as a seller will be allowed to list that product with that G10. And it's normally the 8572 error. Similar escalation process, the ticket would be raised on the Amazon seller support, and then we would assist you with our documentation, which is a certificate, and link that with the information that you've already loaded on Activate to do a one-to-one match for that. And if we have time, we have one last. Okay, we do have the Amazon brand seller mismatch, and this is when if the brand on a listing is different to the company information register. So it's the same, similar code with the EAN UPC mismatch. Next slide. All right, so just to look at the scenarios here, in which scenarios do you think a change of G10 is needed and why, if we look at that? So if you click on that, we have Mirror Pottery is planning on introducing a new indigo blue color to the hand-painted dinner plates in their portfolio. Is this a new G10 or do they keep that G10? Then we have Alina Fashions has rebranded, so from Alina to Karina. Do you think this requires a new G10 or can they keep the same G10? And then lastly, we have Rebits has recently upgraded their over-the-ear headsets from wired to wireless, added user functionality. Do you think that's a new G10 or do you think they need to keep the same G10? So these are the questions that you need to ask yourself as your product is already in trade, looking at the 3 guiding principles and the 10 rules when it comes to making changes on products. Next slide, please. So each color is considered a unique product. In this case, the color is a variant, therefore it needs a unique G10. When it comes to Alina, to Kalina, right? This is a completely brand name change, and therefore it's a new G10 is required. Then if we look at the added functionality, so the change of functionality affects the legally declared information on the product packaging. So Repeats expects the consumer, which is I or Amazon, to differentiate between the non-wireless headsets with the new wireless headsets. So as we recap this webinar, we've learned that every product should have its own unique G10. Each variation of a product needs a different G10. G10s enable better catalog quality and reduce duplication on listings. They improve relevance in search and enrich customer experiences. A new G10 may be required if a product is changed using the G10 management support tool for guidance, and G10s need to be applied correctly. Getting this wrong may be time consuming and costly. And also, you need to get your G10s from a GS1 federation. So with that, I'll open the floor for any questions. Thank you for your time, for listening. I hope that with what we've shared as GS1 is beneficial for you and your business in the Amazon journey. Thank you. Okay, if there are no questions, we have a slide with our contact information. We are based on Catherine Street, number 164, Catherine Street at Barlow Park. Our telephone number is 011 777 3300, and our email helpline services at gs1za.org. You can also visit our website, gs1za.org, where you get all the information that you need. Thank you. And please take time to complete the customer satisfaction survey about